Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coalition. My name is Dana, and I'm here to talk to you about a little tiny TV show that's coming up on some little tiny independent network called the Disney Plus. This is going to be about Moon Knight. This is my spoiler-free review of Moon Knight. So do not worry, I will not be spoiling characterizations. I will not be spoiling the plot twist. I will not be spoiling episode 4, which is the greatest episode so far of the series that made me say, "Oh my God. What's going on?" You will not get any of that from me. I will just be giving you my general thoughts, my opinions of the show, and so we're gonna just go right into it right now. Okay? So from Marvel Studios, this is like what the 80th show from Marvel Studios. It really feels like it's not. I don't know the number, but anyway, Moon Knight is finally live action, and it stars Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke and May Calamay. I hope I pronounced that right. Probably not. Please forgive me. She's a wonderful actress. So, Moon Knight, very general. If you do not know, if you have been living under a rock and have not seen a single commercial, the story of Moon Knight follows Stephen Grant, a mild mannered man who lives basically a boring life, right? His life is boring. He works at a museum. His heart really wants to be a tourist. You know, the people who you go to the museum and they give you all the facts and walk you around the museum. He wants to be a tour guide. That is his heart. But that's not what life wants for him, or that's not what his evil boss wants from him. Instead, he works at a gift shop. He tries his best to talk about all of the knowledge of the Egyptian culture. He's an Egyptologist, which I hope I pronounced that right. I can't pronounce things correctly. So, anyway, boring guy, right? He's plagued by blackouts, and there are mysterious memories of a life that doesn't not seem like its own. You ever have a dream where you're like, I don't know what's going on. It felt like it was real, but again, it felt like it was really separate. You know, it was just all a dream. Because I used to read Word Up magazine. Sorry, corny. Anyway, there is one night where he knows that he has this dissociative identity disorder. He knows that we've seen that from the trailer with him suddenly waking up and he is attached to his bed. He's chained to his bed. His door is completely covered in locks because he does not want to escape. He does not want to leave because he does not know what will happen when he leaves because he is not himself when he leaves. Anyway, after one fateful encounter, Stephen ends up discovering that he shares a body with Marc Spector. All up into this whole time, except for this one incident, they did not know. Well, Stephen did not know Marc Spector existed. And Marc Spector is a former mercenary who is the avatar of Kanush. Kanush is an Egyptian god of the moon and vengeance. And there are enemies that Kanush has and that Marc Spector has, and they're basically trying to kill him. Thing is, they don't know Mark and Spectre are they're two different people technically, so they're just trying to kill everyone. And so Steven is like, "What the fudge cookie? I don't know if I can curse, but what the fudge cookie? We're not gonna. What is going on? I'm just a mild mannered guy who works at a museum and eats a sandwich by a statue who I talk to who's probably my best friend. I don't know why you're trying to kill me. I'm very confused." And so what ends up happening is that because of this whole situation, Mark and Steven are now made aware of each other and they have to fight these evil entities and also evil people who are trying to kill them and also interact with the god of Canoosh. Um, that is my spoilerish, my as much spoiler as I can say. I'm not going to go into what really is happening, but I will want to say this: that there's a lot of chess pieces at play, and Oscar Isaac is superb. He is the definition of superb. Mark Spector and Stephen Grant are played basically as two different people in tonality. You kind of feel it in the way they look. They have the same face, but you're like, oh, this dude is not the same dude, and the dude is American. So you have Mark Spector, serious American man, and then you have Stephen Grant, who's like, oh, like British and everything, and you're like, hey, love, I love you. What's going on? I'm kind of confused here. So he plays them completely opposite from each other, and this I really feel is a masterclass in acting. They're not just somebody with an accent and you walk differently. They feel like they are completely two different characters. When they interact with each other, it feels like they are two different people who are talking to each other, who have different backstories, who have a different life from each other, how they feel like they're completely polar opposite. And to watch that interaction on screen is just, it's wonderful. It's like getting your cake, eating it all too, and still being able to lose weight. I loved every moment that Oscar Isaac gave on screen. The problem is, a little bit of problem. Storytelling wise, I will say Stephen Grant is a wee bit more interesting than straight Mark Spector. And sadly, we see more Mark Spector than we do of Stephen Grant. Even when Stephen Grant is running around befuddled about what's happening, there's still such a way that he's able to reach in and connect to the audience that his overall is just way more interesting than Stephen Grant, not Stephen, who than Mark Spector. Sorry, I'm getting them confused. Than Mark Spector, who's always kind of the guy who's in control. That bewilderedness of Stephen Grant, I love it. I love it so much. I just want to be his best friend. Um, but anyway, going back to the story, um, it is an absolutely fantastic story. It tells you a lot about Egyptian history. Don't know anything about Egyptian history, so just from my perspective, I learned more than I knew before. Now, someone who is in Egyptian history, they may be saying, "Oh, this is basic." I don't know. I can only give you my perspective. I really felt that it was really beautiful to watch, another culture. I do wish that they showed more. I do wish that we was able to kind of explore the people, explore more of the culture instead of having Stephen Grant tell us about it. Like, oh, these are the pyramids of whatever, and maybe just go in and show us what the people look like, what live in that area just a little bit. But it's only 6 episodes, and they pack in a lot within the first four. I only was able to see four. Again, very shocked that they even did that. Makes me really wonder what's going to be in the last two. But what we did see, I think, was absolutely fantastic. I really do love it. So, as I was saying, these are different characters, and also the show itself has different writers. We all know of the writers' room where it's not written by all one person. These are written by different people. Each episode is written by different people, and because of that, it really does feel like each episode is slightly different than the next one. Um, so for me, that was okay. I know a lot of people was like, I don't like it because it doesn't feel all the same. And I was like, it's refreshing to just see different tones and different beats. And each episode be different than the last one. I mean, we have one episode that's completely batshit, and then we go into a calming one. So I like it when it's up and down. When you give me completely crazy, 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 I need a moment to just breathe. And because it's not crazy, 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 because they're not written all by the same person, I was able to breathe and to really dive into the characters a little bit more. Because this is an origin story. This is an origin story that you don't know what's going on, and neither do the characters. So it's really interesting to watch them explore their own origin as they learn it. So that's what I really appreciated. The show itself feels like it begins with taking us into the mind of Stephen Grant. So when he's confused, we are confused. There are action sequences that they do so well between blacking out the characters, like when Mark and Stephen are switching. And they don't know especially, you have to understand, Stephen doesn't know what's going on. Mark does know what's going on. Stephen is completely like, what is this? So when he is taken over by Mark, there are moments where it's like, and then he wakes up. He doesn't know. We're in the middle of a gunfight. We're in the middle of like the truck is heading off the cliff. So you really feel that tension. You feel that moment and that confusion. And that is something that I really loved and really liked about this. My only thing is, like I said, it does take place in Egypt. It does bring a lot of Egyptian history, but I wish we lived in Egypt. I wish that we saw more of the culture. There are moments where we have the gods. I'll get into that a little bit later. But the gods, I really wish that we were able to explore more of the gods. And I don't like so much the avatar. I don't like the fact that they're using avatars. Um, the gods are using avatars. I really wish that we were able to see the gods more in action. Again, I don't know what the last 2 episodes are going to end up with, but I wish we could see more of the gods in action, because here's this big, beautiful god of a being, but instead you decided to choose this like basic man over here, and he's delivering the lines. And I would have really preferred if the gods was like, "Nah, we don't like this, son." Uh, there's a moment when they're like, "Nah," but they don't say "nah." There's a moment of like complete disagreement that's really interesting that I can't go into because spoilers. Yay. Anyway, so what also I really liked is that this does not seem beholden to the MCU. The director confirmed it takes place at MCU. There are no references to the MCU. There's no references to any other characters. And it, honest to God, it feels like it's an entirely separate universe where, like, what is the Avengers? How is Doctor Strange? What's a Doctor Strange? None of that is referenced. And for me, that really felt refreshing. And I wonder, like, as a writer, I felt that that would be more freeing as a writer to not have to constantly try to tie in these different connections. And instead, you're able to focus on your story being your story. You don't have to say, and then Doctor Strange comes in because a god was acting up. No, this is this world with these gods and what's going on with Stephen and Mark. And I really like that. And it just shows that for me, Marvel Studios can create multiple different worlds and everything will be fine. We don't have to connect everything to everything. It's annoying. I understand during the first phase one, two, I lost count of the phases. But when I understand the whole story leading up to Marvel's what is it called? Endgame. No, Infinity War. So nope, Endgame. We're in the Endgame now. Endgame, that is something that you would need all those connective tissues. I think that they really should have separated themselves a little bit. Um, when it came to the following TV shows and what was next for them. I understand that you can't have you can't have the Falcon and Winter Soldier be like, what's going on? I don't know what Doctor Strange is. You had to incorporate that, but I really hope that they continue doing this for Moon Knight, and I hope that we see more of this in the future of characters who are not really known by is not really popular, and just making them their own character with their own origin story and not having to reference everything all the time. So I really appreciate that they were able to take the Marvel comic. It started off in 1975, Wolf by Midnight, um, and that they were able to reimagine what we've seen in the comics and make it refreshing and new. I don't think many people are going to like um, when he transforms into Moon Knight. I wonder. The costuming is really great. Um, I really liked what they were able to do, but if you're looking for straightforward comic book accuracy, you're not going to get that. Um, to me, that wasn't really a problem because I feel that all medium should allow itself to adapt and doesn't have to always be, faithful to its original comic. I really feel that you can take something and reinterpret it and reimagine it and make it just as good. If you really look at, say, just throwing it out there, for example, if you look at all the Jokers that we've seen and all of the Joker history, they're all something new and something different, but they feel familiar. And I really think that Moon Knight feels familiar, but it's something different and something a little bit new. I think this costuming is absolutely superb. I loved what they were able to do. Um, I loved how they were really able to just take what they saw in the comic and again just make it something a little bit different. They tweaked a little bit of things. What was really interesting about this overall, and like I said, the acting is absolutely superb. But what was interesting is that because it's not beholden to the MCU, it doesn't feel like we're leading up to something that's really big. It feels like what we're leading up to is important to what's going on with just that character. This isn't, I don't feel like this is something where you have to have, this is a problem that's bigger than me. And now I have to call in all of these people. This is a situation that ends up happening where Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, they are the person that you call for. And I really like that. I really like that they made him the hero of his own story without having to say, like, we need help from this person and that person. So again, that was just a really great origin how they did with that there. Now let's kind of talk into the characters. Like I said, Oscar Isaac, fucking amazing. He is amazing. I mean, my God, he literally could just act as a here's a pen, and he'll be that pen, and this is the beat of the greatest pen that we'll ever see on screen because it's Oscar Isaac who did it. And again, he's just a superb actor where he's just flaunting his talents at this point. He's like, ah, look what I can do. I can play all these characters. Yeah, what can you do? So it's just like, ugh, it's disgustingly wonderful. Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke, Ethan Hawke, Ethan Hawke. I know many people are upset that he's not played by an Egyptian actor. I cannot speak on that at all. But I will say what we did see on the screen. Him, there we go. Here you go. He's author. He's author Sparrow. What I absolutely loved. I said Sparrow. His name is Harrow. Please forgive me. I'm dyslexic in weird ways. Ethan Hawke plays Arthur Harrow, and what I really loved about him was how much he was able to play off of Oscar Isaac. He is aware that Marc Spector and Stephen Grant are two different people that share the same body, and he kind of treats them really differently. He genuinely hates them both. He does, and you know that, and you feel that. But he plays off of them so differently that it's really just lovely to see actors being actors, and it really feels like they're having fun with the role. And he is someone who takes complete command and control of his character, and he is the bad guy, he is the villain, but he's the villain with a purpose. And that purpose is much larger than just him. It's larger, and you have all of these different gods because again, these are avatars of their gods, and you have their storyline of what's popping off. Then you have the humans and what's their storyline and how they're popping off. So everyone's popping up, popping off. They're popping. So I really do like what Ethan Hawke was able to do with this character. He is a villain, but he seems like he's enjoying his villainous role. There are moments in here where you're like, I can't really spoil what he's doing, but there are moments where he plays a villain where like everything is for the greater good. So there's an air of cockiness about him. There's a little bit of ego, like, yeah, I'm the big guy here. I'm the one who could do that. Yeah, that one, kill them. You don't deserve to live. So I just really like how he's able to just play off that role. And there's the cane that he carries. You can like a little pimp cane. Um, it works for the character. I really like what they were able to do with the character. I know some people are like, it's corny, but I'm like, yeah, maybe just a little bit. But he makes that corniness works. He makes good corn as the corniness. Like you just want that corn because it's popping too. I say popping a lot. I'm sorry, but anyway, um, what I really liked about this is that the story overall it gets into the heart of Moon Knight. And it is designed, the show feels like it is designed around the mystery of who is Stephen Grant and why does he keep dreaming about this globe trotting mission mercenary? Sorry. Um and it really feels like when you have a dream that you just can't let go and that dream just you become obsessed with that dream and you constantly want to be in that dream and so it just kind of really feels that's what Stephen Grant is and what Mark Spector is, that they're just sharing this really weird dream that they want to explore more of. And I genuinely really love what they did with this. Also joining the cast is my Calme. I hope I didn't butcher that. She is wonderful. I can't say who she plays. She's a love interest. That's what we can say. She is a love interest in the show. And she gives a sense of humanity to um especially to Stephen Grant. Stephen Grant, he does have DID and it really shows him struggling with the mental illness and it really gets into the head of the mental illness. I can't speak on its accuracy. I don't know. I'm sorry. But it really does do a great job of getting into that headspace of someone who is mentally ill. And she brings a sense of humanity where it's like I accept you. I understand. I may not understand everything. I'm still learning. I'm getting used to it. But you're not a monster. This is just something that you have. It's an extension of you. And I really like how she is able to play off Oscar Isaac and she treats Mark Spector and Stephen Grant completely different because they're completely different people. Mark Spector doesn't need that reassurance. He doesn't need that constant I'm here for you. Stephen Grant is very unsure about everything. He needs that. And just being around a woman who really appreciates him who accepts him is something that we don't see that he had previously. All the women that are around him are like really bossy and do your job. And just to see someone open up and just be a human to him, it's just really beautiful. And I really liked what they were able to do with the character overall. And I know that at times she can go into being the same character that we've seen in the MCU universe. Oh, she's just another woman for the love interest. There are moments where that does happen, but there are moments where they truly try to make her fully fleshed out, and I really do like that. I do appreciate that, but you do have to understand. And I know this is many people are gonna have upset about this. She is not the main character in the story. She's not. So therefore, her storyline can get somewhat yeeted because the story is about Mark Spector, Stephen Knight, and what's going on with all of the gods situation. Um, but I really do like what they are able to do with that. Again, also we have I don't know if I can say this kind of. There are alter egos that we see of Mr. Knight. I can talk about Mr. Knight. I really liked Mr. Knight. I loved his fighting style. There's Mr. Knight and there's Moon Knight that I can speak of, and there's there's different styles of fighting that they incorporated in here. That's really great. It's really funny. And I really liked how they made Moon Knight and Mr. Knight kind of completely different because the personalities are different. So I really like how they were able to do that. Um, it was really just fun overall to watch this. And again, sorry, Kanoosh. We have to talk about Kanoosh. Kanoosh is the big bad god. Kanoosh is absolutely fantastic in this. He is a completely CGI character because I'm like, how is this going to work? What's going on? But he is a completely CGI character. I am trying to pull up what picture I can put up that is not like a spoiler of everything. Um, but he is. I can't put that up. Jesus, this crackers. Like I said, he is an entire character itself that is like, what the F? Like, he could easily be a big bad god who is like bossing everyone around and like, I'm the god of whatever I'm a god of. And instead, he is someone who, again, they made a fully fleshed out character. So here we go. Got the picture. So sorry about the coughing. Um, but he is a god who, like I said, he is a CGI character who's voiced by F. Murray Abraham, who is known from Amadeus. Watch Amadeus; it's a wonderful film. Anyway, so he is known from Amadeus. One of the thing is he is the Egyptian god of moon and the self-appointed god of vengeance. He has walked on the earth for centuries, and he is waging a god war, one god war on perceived injustices. But because of this, his actions have made him an outcast amongst his fellow gods. And as a result, he now needs Mark Spector as his avatar more than ever as he tries to enact his divine vengeance. Here's the thing with Kanoosh. Kanoosh is a god of vengeance who really sucks at venging and godding. He is a god where the other gods kind of make fun of because he is so extreme and so over the top. And when you kind of listen to him and you want to follow him, he ends up being wrong on a lot of things, but he can be right, but it's still executed wrongly. He is more like the god of ego. Like, he is egotistical. He is very insecure, which is a really interesting dynamic that you see him with, and he struggles something terribly to get other people to believe in him, the other gods to believe in him. And it can be absolutely hilarious, but he's so assured and everything that he knows. And it's just a really interesting play on his insecurities. He is insecurity, he is mouthy. Um, he wants to be taken seriously, but nobody does. You kind of feel sorry for him because of that. But I really do like this. And he is manipulative. I don't trust him with 2 cent because he's just a hot mess. Um, he's a hot mess, and that is an interesting dynamic that I would never thought I would see from someone who's a god. I thought I would see more of Thanos. Thanos had that very confidence, even though his thoughts, his ideas wasn't like, hey, that doesn't really fully make sense about like the whole population just going off instead of like, let's create more resources. I really like that what if episode where it was Black Panther. It was like, you're kind of wrong. And then Thanos was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. We should just talk more. Uh, but there is not that confidence that Thanos had is not in Canoosh at all. And it's really wonderful to see it play. And there are comedic moments about that. And we're just trying to be so serious. And, Stephen Grant doesn't know what's going on. So he's freaking out the whole entire time. But Marc Spector is like, oh, not this shit again. So it's just really nice to see that play off. Um, so again, overall, I would have to say, can't spoil anything. The episodes I saw first four were brilliant. The first episode is like, what is going on? There are moments where like, all right, here's my seatbelt. I strapped in. I'm super glued in. I taped. I got the duct tape. This is going to be a wild ride. There are moments, in other episodes, it was a little bit slower. Where we're kind of catching up on things because, again, it is Stephen Grant don't know what's going on, and so we don't know what's going on. Um, so it's a little roller coaster. It's really a roller coaster. It goes ups and downs and downs and ups. Some of the villains, I will say, they're just villains. Where it's like I'm the bad guy, number 80, and no, we will stop you. Pew 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 with the guns. But there's really great action scenes. There's really great fight scenes. I know a long time ago, maybe before the panorama, Oscar Isaac uploaded videos of him doing fight training, and it was just this kind of like beautiful way. It felt like a dance, like a very brutal dance of this fight training and him running around stabbing people. And that's kind of what we say. It's really beautiful, the fight training, just overall. We're not getting that elevator scene, kind of what we've seen from Captain America and Winter Soldier, but we're getting something that's we're getting a sand version of that. We're getting you know what we're getting? We're getting Case of the X. I know people are not going to understand this reference, but Maya, the singer, did a wonderful music video for a song, Case of the X, which I can't sing because I'm really bad at it. But the whole thing, let's see if I can pull it up. Not the song, because copyright. Image. There was an entire song. Then they did the video, and the music video took place in the sand. It was in the desert with the sand, and the sand's kicking up everywhere. I think we've all seen, sandy music videos in the middle of dancing. Just think of a step up, but instead of water, we have sand. So basically, that it's a lot of sand within those that choreographed fights. Case of the X, you see the sand flying, so it's a lot of like pew pew, and then the knife is going, and there's sand going everywhere. It's very beautiful in that way. Cinematography, again, I really loved. I thought it was really beautiful. I loved everything that they did. I loved how they filmed it. I know there are moments that feels a little bit like, hey, that's a green screen. I understand that. That's not perfect, but it doesn't take away from the show overall. And that's what I really loved about it. Anything that you really have complaints about does not take away from the show completely. Um there is a one was my favorite, and in episode 4 completely flips the script on what we've seen on the first 3 episodes to the point where I don't know where this is going. I thought I knew where this was going. I am completely confused by episode 4. Episode 4 felt like something out of Legion. You know how completely different Legion was with just the visuals and just the acting and the placement and everything, and I can't say why, but it was like an oh my god, what is this? I'm genuinely confused. Let me read the comics. Oh, I read that part of the comics, but they did that so differently that I don't know what's going to happen. And so I'm really interested in learning how the last 2 episodes are going to go. And I really do feel, I know that the director hinted at it before. I we need a season 2 to fully explain what the fudge cookie I just watched in episode 4. So I really do hope it has a second season, and not just because of that, but because the show itself is really good. Um, I don't think that they had enough time to pack in everything that they need to pack in. So overall, I really liked it. I think it tried to be different, like Loki tried to be different until it didn't, but unlike Loki, it's still different. So I really look forward to that. I really hope that Moon Knight does not interact with any of the other MCU characters. I know it takes place in MCU because the director said it takes place in the MCU, but I really hope that we do not see that going forward. I don't want to see any of the characters. I don't want to hear any references to anyone. I really like what we were able to watch and witness so far. I really loved just basically everything. I loved the costuming. Some of the props were a little it's a little janky, but the filming, the style. Jeremy Slater. I know he does episode uno and he does episode six. Congratulations to him, whomever directed episode four. I love you. You did just a really great job. So overall, watch the show. I really feel that you should watch this show. This is completely different than what we've seen before. I found it to be completely refreshing. It is so just refreshing, and it's really great to watch something that we don't ever we don't get to see anymore in Marvel Studios. You know, Netflix, Marvel, that's a whole different thing. That was like, ooh, it was grounded and real and gritty and grimy, and there's a decapitation. And while we don't really get the decapitations and coffee, coffee, we don't get that, but we do get something that feels like it is the best Marvel TV studio show so far. Um, like I said, Oscar Isaac walking class, and he's a walking masterclass in acting. All of his versions of the characters are completely fleshed out, and they're vastly different from each other. As part Indiana Jones, I don't know what's going on. Moon Knight overall filled me with joy. I was able to watch each episode 5 times, and then they gave it to us. Was like, hey, just watch how many times you want. So I loved it. I was grounded into it. I just love everything about it. It is confusing because it's supposed to be confusing because the characters are confused. It constantly keeps you on your toes. I think that the best way to enjoy Moon Knight is just not to go into everything, not to question everything. Sometimes you just have to surrender yourself to the wackiness and just let it go. You can have your theories. Please don't get too much into the theories like we all did with WandaVision, myself included. You can have your theories. But I found it to be just exhilarating. It was fun. It was funny. It is batshit crazy in the best way. And episode 4, I need more. Inject it into my veins because I don't know what's going on. And I mean that in the best way. So, once again, thank you for listening to me ramble. Oh my God. Thank you for that. I will catch you later. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, and also we will have Moon Knight interviews coming up with the entire cast of Moon Knight, including Kevin Feige. So look forward to that. I look forward to that. I have to write all that, transcribe. Yay. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me how awful I am. Whatever. So have a great day, afternoon, evening, and I will catch you later because there are a lot more reviews that I have to catch up on. So thank you. Eventually, I'm going to hit that button. Don't worry. It's going to be hit. I lost the page for a moment. So I'm trying to hit that in button. But it will be hit.